What is going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It is Tuesday, June the 25th, fresh off of an explosive Raw, which we are going to break down today. I've got a sweet crew riding with me. Let me introduce them to you first. I'm going to send this across the country. I'm over here at Clark Taylor in Southern California, but we've got across the country on the East Coast in the DMV. It's Tuesday, so get your twos up for the Tuesday Night Delight. Shoddy, what's going on?
What's going on, Clark? I'm doing well, bro. It has been quite a week for me in the world of non-wrestling stuff, but I'm excited and just to talk about the life of wrestling, what we got going on last night's Raw and whatnot. So let's get into it.
Absolutely. I'm stoked. Let's get into it. But before we do, one more to introduce. Now we're going to go north to Regina, Canada, head of reviewing, fresh off one of the highest reviewed shows. And this is now the third time I've mentioned it on the daily. So I'm never doing it again. But fresh off one of the highest reviewed shows in the history of the system that this man helped invent. Coby Galanzowski, what's up, my friend?
What is up? Of course, we had a Monday Night Raw. It wasn't as I wouldn't say it was better than last week's, but of course, it was still very good. There's a lot of good stuff we get to talk about here today, and I am excited to do so with, of course, Clark Taylor and my boy Shad. I'm happy to do so. Of course, some of my thoughts for the things I won't get to say on the air are on the website, on the review. Go wrestlingrepublic.com. You'll be able to find it there. But of course, let's continue to talk Monday Night Raw.
Absolutely. Let's get into Monday Night Raw. But before we do, really quick, we got a few comments over here. We've got Anthony McCool25 over on Instagram with hello. What's going on, my friend? And then we've got Joshua Medina 3154 with what's up? What's up with you? Absolutely.
What up? What
And then
up?
also, really quickly before we get into the show, I did want to just give our condolences from all of us over at Wrestling Republic for both Sika. The news about that is just awful, and then also Pat McAfee losing his mother-in-law as well, um,
Father-in-law.
or father-in-law. I apologize. Thank you. And having to miss Monday Night Raw, just an absolute tough day for the wrestling world when it comes to that, and we give our absolute best.
Yeah.
From over here at Wrestling Republic. Then right quick before we get into our first topic, there's one more comment. We got a Broke Boy Key with what's up. Absolutely. I said I'd shout out more. And then yes, Soul Sessions had it right. Sika and Y.
Man, rest in peace, man.
Brutal loss for
Suck for
Afa, the whole family.
suck for the
Um,
family for sure.
get the ones up, right? Normally twos on Tuesdays for us, but ones today for
Yeah,
that
man.
bloodline. An amazing family and everything they've done for wrestling for us. We appreciate and we'll do our best to honor Sika. But let's talk about, speaking of honoring, it's not to get all hot and heavy here with this, but we have the Wyatt Six clearly honoring Bray Wyatt. Um, Such an emotional thing. I felt like on the intro in some ways, as heavy as it was, and as much as we want to break this down from an entertainment standpoint, this was honoring Bray Wyatt in a way that was just absolutely beautiful, you know? And I think that's really cool. Last night, these segments continue to do so. This is something that it, to me, it's exactly what Bray would have booked, right? This is what he envisioned in so many ways, and it was beautiful. I want to get both of you guys' thoughts, but Shad, I'm going to toss it to you first. Just what are your thoughts on the direction of the Wyatt Six in general, and more importantly, though, how I think it's really hard to tastefully honor the
Hmm.
fallen,
For
and
sure.
I think they've towed that line and done an incredible job, especially with how unique Bray's personality was and continues to live on.
So I'm absolutely loving everything about Wyatt Six last night. I thought both segments tied to it They smashed it. Obviously, we're continuing what happened last week, and obviously we'll talk about that match later on the show. But with the Chad Gable, we saw him laid out and him kind of being apprehensive and coming into the ring, and Nikki Cross, someone who's very talented, finally given direction in a character, and her giving the video cassette to Michael Cole, which eventually played a beautiful, absolutely beautiful promo package with Uncle Howdy talking to Bo Dallas. And the reason I like it a lot is because it is paying homage and honoring Bray Wyatt, but it's not shying away of the characters as well as Bo Dallas. I think the big thing with Bray when he did return uh, to the WWE was his character. It seemed something similar to this, where Uncle Howdy was kind of the inner thoughts talking to him, and him kind of going through a lot of his mindsets and insecurities and stuff like that. Some may even call it bit of depression. Uh, Messing with his brain and him kind of airing out his grievances, talking to the crowd. It's similar to this. I mean, straight up saying like, how do you feel since your brother died and all that. And these are real human emotions that Bo Dallas is displaying out here. And
Yep.
in a way, it's beautiful because you feel the realism to it because it's 100% real. And I like it because it's not more so a Wyatt six where we're continuing something with Bray, but it's also allowing us to get a direction in the character for Bo. And I think that's the beautiful thing about it, man. Like it brought tears to my eyes, man. If anybody knows, family is always the most important thing,
Yeah.
especially when you have a brother. And him just kind of having everything with Bray and it all being stripped away from him, and them obviously gonna have to go through a whole spiel working together. We thought it was gonna be Howdy and Bray, but obviously unfortunate circumstances happen, and I'm very curious. I like the whole unit too because all the Easter eggs and the wording where they
Yeah.
forgot about us. It feels like it's kind of like an outsiders trying to get their comeuppance and reminding people. And I think that's the best thing because that whole unit of people that we believe that are part of the faction kind of, they need something. They need something to kind of get people to want them to remind them who they are. And I think it's good. But yeah, man, I loved everything about it. I think Bo being able to talk, man, it was great, bro. And like I said, it brought tears to my eyes, man. Like I think
Yeah.
um, just the whole situation, man. Like you can see how much he's being so organic to himself and wearing his heart on his sleeve, man. As a man, it's dope to see because they tell us as men we can't do that all the time, and
Yeah.
him doing it is amazing to see, bro.
I got choked up all the way, and it's funny because I think that was beautiful what you just said about like the family and everything. And I think the brilliance of all of this, though, too, is the supernatural aspect of the kind of I don't want to call it like the Bray universe, but like the Bray Wyatt mindset is still applied to it with the realism, blurring some lines with kayfabe and whatnot. We've got a comment here from Kafkask. Blurring the lines between kayfabe and reality, brilliant. Yeah, I agree. I love it.
Agreed.
But you also have this supernatural aspect where we can jump back into having to suspend disbelief. Because
Yeah,
let's be honest, at any moment, Uncle Howdy can be the tortured soul of Blackjack Mulligan,
right.
right? Like
You know
this
what?
is
To
we
that
talk
point,
about the
a lot of
family
people,
history type stuff, right? We forget about IRS, the Mulligans, Blackjack Mulligan,
yeah,
all of the Hall of Famers in the Rotunda and
exactly.
Wyndham family, Barry Wyndham. It goes back so far. We've spoken so in depth about
Hmm.
the Samoan dynasty, the Rhodes family, the Mulligans and the Rotundas have and the
Our
Wyndhams
lineage.
and the Wyndhams, right, have something to say about that when it comes to family trees and family history in wrestling. Taylor Rotunda, Bray Wyatt, Blackjack, IRS, right? It microton
Microtunnel, yeah.
it goes a long way in this business, and it is. I love the way that you presented that about him honoring his brother the way that it went down last night. I got choked up myself. It was an amazing moment. I want to get your thoughts on it as well, though, Coby. What do you think the end game, though? This is let's pivot just briefly when it comes to the topic itself. What do you think the end game is for the Wyatt Six?
If I have to say something about the end game, what I see coming is essentially what we saw last night. We saw Uncle Howdy essentially interviewing or having that one-on-one conversation with people like, well, I don't know. They haven't addressed him as Bo Dallas, but he is Taylor Rotunda, Wyndham Rotunda's brother. Of course, we all know that part.
Yeah.
I want to, if I'm booking this and you give me the chance to say where this goes, you give me this with every single member, because though that not only exposes the character, that gives us a reason to care about every character that we are seeing at this point within it. If you do that interview and have them be able to speak for the first time or whatever since being absent from the WWE, whether that's, well, we know one's Eric Rowan / Eric Redbeard. He hasn't been in the company for how long?
Yeah.
Since the passing of two of his best friends in the business. You have Loomis, you have Gacy, and you have Nikki Cross. Those are all people who have kind of been off TV for a while. They deserve to kind of talk about that absence at this point. And I think if you do that same, not the exact same tape delivery, give it to Michael Cole every week, but if you give that tape, let them talk, have it be an interview that gives us time to develop these characters. And I like that part of it. I do have to praise the idea of not having everyone show up last night. They had Nikki Cross do do the moment with Chad Gable, do the crawling and giving the box that was directed to Pat McAfee, who wasn't there that night, of course, like you said already, Clark. And then they played the tape. There's a lot of good stuff that happened last night. That interview was touching. It asked the hard-hitting questions, and it really let us get in the mind to Bo Dallas for the very first time. At least that's what I felt. I know he obviously spoke in the Bray Wyatt documentary. I can't remember the title that they did for Mania weekend, but exactly that. We got into the mind of him, and if I'm trying to connect the dots from what we saw last night to what we know happened last week and why Gable has had a second run in with the Wyatt Six, and like you said, or like Taylor said in the video, it felt like he lost everything when Bray Wyatt passed away.
Yeah.
I almost wonder if that's why he's targeting Chad Gable, because Chad Gable was taking almost his brother Otis for granted. And I don't know if that's the connection we're making, but I feel comfortable saying that could be why Gable is the one being targeted, because this is about the Wyatt Six is about family, is about remembering someone who was very important to the wrestling business over the last 10 years. And that's where the disconnect was, is Chad Gable was trying to abuse his family, if we want to say it that way.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the dots I need to connect, but that's the dots I connect.
That is really interesting, Coby. I love
like
that
that correlation.
suggestion. Yeah, like wait a minute. You took for granted your kinship, your friends. That's a story we can really tell too.
And
Go ahead,
one
Shad.
thing though, into like what Kobe's point is, I was thinking about the documentary a lot yesterday with the promo, and I'm glad that you brought that up because, man, it takes a lot. It's heavy in the heart, and it like coming up in a business, especially like professional wrestling, with a brother in the same age range, and y'all kind of come up together, and him not being there, and him, like you said, it felt like the world was taken away, especially pro wrestling. I gotta tip my hat off to that guy, man, because that ain't easy, bro. And the fact that he's able to kind of, continue it in his brother's honor, and still they're still creatively trying to make it something where it does also tie to him too. Man, WWE, I gotta give him the respect. I was apprehensive about it before everything happened last week because I didn't know what the direction is, but so far I love it a lot.
I do too.
Without a doubt.
And I really like that. We got a bunch of comments here. We've got Kafkask with wrestling has more than one royal family. I love that. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
He added, by that logic, Rey Mysterio should be next as he's dead beat dead. That's funny. That made me laugh.
Funny.
The Soul Sessions, how do you go after Jay or Jimmy then? Which one? Kafkask said Jay would be easier as he's on Raw. Yeah, honestly, that actually does logically add up.
I could see that happening too.
That is in the cards, I think, for sure. And that's what's so interesting to me about Howdy is it's a family-based character. We know it is, right? That's what it is. And Bo Dallas, we all remember, this is not Bo Dallas. This is different. This is Taylor Rotunda under the mask, not Bo Dallas, right? We're not Bo leaving in the White Six. That's not right. That's not what's happening here on Monday Night Raw. Okay, let's get into another promo segment that was ballistic. This is absolutely wild. I thought this was the moment of the show in my eyes because it was, I've got my stupid wristbands on. That wristband, this costs about 50 cents, but
it means a lot more.
It's priceless to you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought it was an eye for an eye in Chicago, but Drew McIntyre is going after CM Punk in a different way.
Yep.
Larry and AJ are on that bracelet. You're kidding me.
Yep.
No, he's not messing around. There's no more joking. Drew is not happy. Not happy. And not only is he going to win Money in the Bank, but he's not going to let Punk do anything. And so now we've got our direction. This Scottish psychopath really thought about this one. And that's what I loved the most about this segment. It was my favorite part about it. I thought it stole the show. Shot, are you in agreement on this? I think this is the rivalry of the summer in WWE.
Yeah, you and I talked about it in depth on Sunday Night Spotlight too. If y'all haven't watched that, shameless plug. But it's a continuation, man. Drew McIntyre is doing some of the best work in professional wrestling when we're talking about just being invested into a storyline and it being like a different storyline. And I know WWE is hot on a lot of storylines. A lot of them are on Monday Night Raw too, but this is like a blood feud without any bloodshed. Well, no, there is bloodshed. There have been bloodshed on Friday Night SmackDown, but the hatred, right? Like, and it's in my mind, it's justified. Like, revenge is a dish best served sweet, and he's gonna do anything to just pile on this frosting and make this revenge dessert the sweetest it can be. Because Punk took what he wanted away from him, and that was a title opportunity, not once but twice. And you're gonna get your get back, but you got to get it back even a lot harder. And I think going personal, going towards the family, going towards the wife, going towards the dog that we know Punk loves so dearly, it's brilliant. And this is gonna make it so interesting to see as we progress this summer because, like we said, Drew got a match next week, an opportunity to get to Money in the Bank. Will Punk come in and mess it up for him next week? I don't know. Will Punk mess it up in Toronto? I'm not sure. We're as fans, we are invested to see every week we see a Drew McIntyre in attendance. What's gonna happen? Any significant moment he has, is Punk gonna come back? It's one of those things where I'm cool if they do this for the whole year, just because they're so good at one upping each other in the aspect of revenge. And man, oh man, oh man, it's gonna be great. And you gotta tip your hat off to Drew, bro, because he's found a way to just reignite himself as a character, and he's such a different heel and one of the best heels in pro wrestling. And it's like it's great to see, man. The promo game is great. The stuff he does online is great. You know, him just attacking. I love it all, man. So I enjoyed it, and it definitely kicked off the show and set the tone last night.
100%. I mean, it's like, yeah, it to me, the just the thought that went into last night's segment is what makes this rivalry so good, right?
Yeah.
Like, just like you just broke down, it's like the amount of it's so personal and there's so many options with these two to make them continue to cross paths.
I mean, he posted a picture of Larry on his Twitter earlier today, calling like, look, man, people are pet owners, man. You can't. Those are like your babies, man. Those are like kids. I don't think Punk has
Yes.
a child, so that's like
No.
his son. So I mean, and we know how much it means, how much Larry means to Punk. So yeah, like that the dig on the bracelet, I love it. I just it's so good, dude.
It really is. And yeah, there's a bunch of comments on Instagram if you just joined asking about Sika. And yes, can confirm that he passed away. Is confirmed on Instagram by Jairus NOI. That Sika of the Isle of the Wild Samoans passed away. Yes, and we wish all the condolences to the NOI family and the entire bloodline, right? For that matter, from Wrestling Republic, 100%. Let's keep it rolling here, though. I'm gonna do a really quick. Well, not as quick as I'd hoped, but I'm gonna do an ad read. We're gonna talk about Next Level, our good friends over at Next Level. If you love wrestling content, go check it out. Download the app right now. It's absolutely free, no gimmicks, thriving wrestling community. And not only that, it's all of our links in one place, all kinds of content, all kinds of wrestling content, not just us, but other content creators. It's exciting. Go check it out. And there's giveaways. Keep your eyes peeled for some of the big giveaways. They're fun and it's absolutely free to enter. Go to nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic to see all of our content across all platforms, linked all in one place. But we've got more Raw to talk about. We've got some money in the bank, qualification matches to talk about. Let's start with Lyra Valkyria, Kairi Sane, and Shayna Baszler. Coby, I'm going to ask you about this one. Interesting. How do you feel about the women's Money in the Bank picture headed towards the pay-per-view? Or PLE, whoops.
I think it's interesting. I did expect this to go the direction. Shayna Baszler is not much of a Money in the Bank talent. I don't see Shayna Baszler working well in a ladder match, and they are doing the entire damage control situation with damage control needing to change at that point. And of course, Kairi Sane took the loss in this match. Lyra Valkyria moves on. She's having a heck of a first 2 months on the main roster, having the run in the Queen of the Ring, and now she's in Money in the Bank. Of course, it's an interesting one so far. Of course, we don't have as many people announced as this one, but we do have Lyra, we have Io Sky, and then we have Chelsea Green. It's an interesting field so far. We'll know who's coming in the future. And of course,
by the way, thank you, because I realized I didn't say that Lyra won the match before I tossed it to you, Coby. I'm like, I'm so sorry, by the way, everyone. That was one of the worst moves on my part in a while. Lyra Valkyria is qualifies for the Money in the Bank ladder match last night. But I'm sorry, I was laughing. I like, finish, Coby. Go ahead.
No, yeah, and then I think that's what the direction is. And I mean, Lyra is just an organic and likable person, and I think that's what's coming through the last 2 months, and that's what's getting her over. Like I said, I can only say it so many times, but the fact that she got called up from the main roster and they're doing the cause in her entrance, I like that as a part of the entrance, and I like that for who she is, and that just shows she's getting over with the crowd. Of course, we have the other Money in the Bank match, which was
Yes.
Chad Gable, Braun Strowman, and Bronson Reed. I like the fact that they needed to have the Judgment Day take out Braun Strowman. That protects Strowman. That continues whatever issues they have in that scenario. Chad Gable winning, I think it's the interesting move because I don't see him winning Money in the Bank at all. But I do like the fact that he is in Money in the Bank because he deserves it. He's put in a lot of work the last few months with the Alpha Academy, with all this greatness. He gets the win with the moonsault. I'm not beefed about how he won. I knew he was going to win this match. I didn't see Bronson or Braun going into the Money in the Bank, but I'm fine with that. And then I guess to add on what happened with Chad Gable, I like the fact that he is starting to kind of realize what he has done with the Alpha Academy. And he tried to apologize to Otis, Maxine, and Akira Tozawa. And I like the fact that they're trying to do that. And of course, we know Otis is hurting as well because of this. Otis, and I mean, I'm gonna completely tie this up. Like we said, the Y6 is about family, and the line Otis delivered about family. If you're gonna hurt one of the family, you're not a part of the family, and that shows that shows the bond Maxine, Otis, and Akira Tozawa have, and that shows just the I guess the emotional damage that Chad Gable dealt on them
Yeah.
over the last few months. And of course, it's interesting to see the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile kind of peek their heads in after, and to hear Chad Gable say, "No, I'm not okay, and I need help." That interests me to see where this goes with Chad Gable, with the Alpha Academy, with the Creed brothers / Diamond Mind, with the Wyatt Six. There's a lot of intertwining, and I love it so much right now.
Yeah, it is really cool the way that they've dealt with these storylines, and especially with having 3 hours last night. I think they did a really good job of navigating it throughout, like touching on it at the
Yeah.
right times. It made segments that normally we might not necessarily normally complain about, but we might be inclined to complain about after a Monday Night Raw, and I don't think there's room to
Yeah, you
last
diminish
night
you
when it
diminish
comes to that.
filler when you do that too.
Okay,
Like
let's talk.
every minute
Yes,
counts. So
let's talk another one though, Shoddy, that I was like, let's go.
my
Because it's
favorite
really funny
thing of
when
the
we
night.
did our Money in the Bank card predictions, and I was like, I don't even know where to go, but there's got to be a good women's world title match on this card. And I'm like, what about Zelina? What about
Mhm.
Zelina Vega and Liv Morgan? I think that's what we're getting. Okay. I don't know if I've laughed out loud harder at a promo line than I don't know why you're so obsessed with the sloppy seconds.
And the crowd chanting sloppy seconds.
And,
Mhm.
and so we're
Yeah.
going to get this title match next week. And yeah, obviously I said that Money in the Bank, but the fact that we're getting it at all, this is a rivalry I love. And even if it's a 1 weeker, I'm hoping it's not. I'm hoping it lasts multiple weeks, but the sloppy seconds
It's
chant, it
been a
doesn't
few weeks so
get
far anyway.
any
Yeah.
funnier than that, Shad.
For sure. Shout outs to the big dog Jordy, because we the last few weeks have been saying we would like to see Zelina Vega in a prominent role in a title feud, and we are getting that. Um, Man, last night reminded you how good Zelina Vega is as a professional wrestler, and that goes as a talent in ring, but what she could do on the mic, man, she was in her duffel bag last night, dog, and like the lines that she had, the way to just start off basically saying that I'm fed up with your shenanigans and all this stuff, and you doing all this for Dom. Like you're messing up opportunities for me, and I'm going gunning right for you. I'm coming right for the snake's head, and I'm trying to decapitate it. And I like it. I mean, she had a lot of seriousness to it, a lot of fiery passion that we know she has because we've seen it prior. We knew going into the Rhea feud uh, at Backlash, and you also see the comedic timing. Man, she's witty. She's a person that can show a little bit of that feistiness that she has. I mean, she's a New Yorker, she's a Boricua. Like she's got that in her, and it all intertwines so well. Liv Morgan just being unserious as she is, you know, heart-shaped eyes going goo goo gaga for Dominic Mysterio. Dominic Mysterio continuously just being awkward and not knowing how to feel about the moment that he's in. We already told you what you need to do, Dom. I said it, man. Laundry, laptop, beach chair, man. You gotta fold, bro. I'm talking to you man to man right now, Dominic Mysterio. It is time to fold, brother. The woman cares about you. You are not going to get any more care from another woman than you are on Liv Morgan. You need to open up your heart for Liv. She's going to take you to the promised land. We're going to talk about the main event later on, but Liv Morgan is in for your best interest. So man to man, I'm telling you, young man, open your heart. Rhea's not good for you. Liv, on the other hand, she's great for you. That's all I got to say. It's my TED Talk.
It's golden shot.
Peach chair.
I appreciate that more than you know. That is as good as it gets. I don't even know if I can. I don't have anything that I think necessarily needs to be added to that one.
Bro, I gotta be real, man. I was very tough on Liv Morgan a few months ago. I don't think you can find a bigger believer in Liv Morgan than me right now. Because I think the character work that she honestly is doing and how they're able to just bring like a pinch, not even a whole lot, maybe a little pinch of that Attitude Era esque storylines and just playing it to a T, being confident, doing the whole like flirtatious, being promiscuous, but also she's a mastermind by the looks of it. And this whole Liv Morgan revenge tour is brilliant, dude. And I gotta tip my hat off to her. She's doing phenomenal work. And she's got
could not
a lot of
agree more.
people on the internet wishing they were Dominic Mysterio. So
I dig it as well. No, she's killing it in this role. Like it literally is. It's amazing work. Speaking of throwback type stuff, though, Attitude Era type stuff, we saw last night a segment, and this was a night of promos. We've had Night of Champions for years in the WWE. Last night was the night of promos. But this was another really darn good one. And there's not much you can say about it that isn't positive. Damian Priest comes out with his world championship. Seth Rollins comes out cosplaying as Cruella DeVille. But they delivered in the first half of the segment. It was awesome. Like there was no complaints other than the Dalmatians that it took to build that coat for Seth. I'm just saying,
That's insane.
shout out 101 Dalmatians. But either way, Rollins is out here. He and Priest go back and forth. Priest doing the I don't want to be you. They compare their faction type histories, which I thought was kind of interesting, right? They kind of go back through a little bit of a career retrospective comparison. And I liked the way that they did that. And then we get Gunther. And I like this. I really like this. I know Ben Allison, Monster Shoutout, is not a huge fan of multi-man matches. And I don't know that necessarily this is a guaranteed triple threat, but I like them. I like them. And I don't care what anyone says. I want to see it. I'm ready for it. What do you think, Cobe?
I mean, at least you remembered Gunther in this segment. At least you haven't remembered him for a few weeks on some mailbags, trying to put him in the Money in the Bank ladder match and trying to think he's not getting a singles match at SummerSlam. I'm beginning to think you have a vendetta against the Gunther man, the ring general, the King General.
That's just good against the numbers, though. That's 2 opportunities.
Yeah, I'm just trying to give him more. I was trying to give him more chances.
Yeah. So regardless, like we said, I like the fact that this promo happened. we are getting more fuel to the fire in this case. Of course, I was already excited for Seth Rollins versus Damian Priest at Money in the Bank, and at this point, I'm more excited. Not only because of the stakes, but yeah, those stakes that they added are interesting. We have Seth Rollins going, I will never challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship as long as you're champion. If you beat me, adds fuel to the fire for people to cost Rollins if they don't like him. We don't know if that is a Roman Reigns-esque move, but that might be. And then Damian Priest, if Damian loses his championship, he is set to lose the judgment, or not lose. He is set to leave the Judgment Day. That is great. That's more like I said, it's more fuel to the fire. It's more I want to see this happen. I want to see a lot of whoever, like someone might not want to see Seth have another chance, but some might want to see, I want to see this guy leave the Judgment Day because maybe he's better, maybe he's not, maybe the Judgment Day don't need him. And Damian Priest dropping that line of, I'm the world champion right now. The Judgment Day needs me more than I need the Judgment Day. We're getting those layers built of it. I don't want to say it as just a multi-layer story, but that's exactly what this is. It's multi-layered. We have Damian Priest confident that he could be without the Judgment Day and be fine. But keep in mind, if he loses the World Championship, the Judgment, he has to leave. So there's a lot of layers to the story. Gunther showed up and he got a great pop. He absolutely did. And what he said was short, was effective, and it was
ominous final message.
To be.
Ominous final message.
Exactly. It's essentially a final message from Gunther. See you at SummerSlam, though. But it also Gunther putting over the Money in the Bank match also, or not the Money in the Bank match that's going to happen, which is Seth Rollins and Damian Priest. He put that over as important, and he sat there.
He overshadowed the 101 Dalmatians coat, I think, without question, Coby. You summed it up perfectly. I'm just saying, honestly, that's all I could see. As soon as he walked out, I was like, dude.
Hey, man.
That's Cruella DeVille.
Becky on mommy time right now. Becky's on mommy time. Someone in the house got to really be as outlandish with the clothing because we don't have both of them now. So
that's one of the most iconic Seth coats, though, ever. I thought. I was like, that is straight Cruella DeVille.
I met their stylist, by the way. I didn't talk to him, but I saw their stylist at the book signing. They were there.
Yes. I love that. Okay, let's get into our final segment of this afternoon, because this is going to be the first time I'm going to really complain about this show. I have for weeks, as Coby mentioned, been forgetting about Gunther. But more importantly than that, I've been begging to build a tag team division. On either show, build a division. And we get Awesome Truth, which is not a love story. Remember, they're just friends. We get that early in the night. They're just friends, okay? To make that clear. But against other Judgment Day, so other Judgment Day wins the titles, not even the same. There's no, Freebirds rule. It's not the same champions that were we just trying to shift it down the Judgment Day without breaking them up? I feel robbed. I feel like I've been gypped. And honestly, I also feel like Awesome Truth is more of a tag team than other Judgment Day. But our new Raw tag team champions are other Judgment Day. That's what we're stuck with here. So what do we do with these tag belts, Coby? Because something needs to happen here. There is no tag division, finger quotes. There's just tag teams. We form them, and then it's 2-on-2 because of the numbers, not because of a story being told or an actual division being built. Can we actually finally do that with other Judgment Day at the helm?
I hope so. Uh, at this point, I can't sit here and say they've done great since WrestleMania. I think they've. I mean, I can sit here and say that I wasn't expecting much with Awesome Truth at the helm, and I couldn't really see you build a division around Awesome Truth because they are more of that entertainment faction instead of a tag team wrestling faction. But there was still great stuff in this match. There's great psychology. There's the building up of the hot tags, of course. Miz getting his solo run of, I think he threw Carlito over the announce table, and he was getting those shots to take out everyone, and I mean, there's enjoyable moments. I love the weaving of Braun Strowman showing up, and then you have Liv Morgan doing her thing with Dominic, and also costing R-Truth. And it real like you said, Liv Morgan's the mastermind. She's the manipulator. She is truly, whether you like it or not, developing a character, developing a personality, and she's delivering on all cylinders right here, right now. And I thought it was a relatively fine match, but I mean, it was just a thank God they took the titles off Awesome Truth, because yes, they got the moment. I love R-Truth getting his WrestleMania moment. How many years after, I can't remember the number, but he finally got it, and I enjoyed it for what it needed to be, the moment. But the tag reign was, I don't want to say complete garbage, but it was complete garbage.
Yeah, it was tough.
But
It was tough. It was tough.
there was no like you said, we got tag teams on Raw. They had their match with DIY before the draft. They beat Authors of Pain after Authors of Pain squashed the New Day. I mean, there's not a division in this case, but I kind of hope we can build it with the Judgment Day again. They were doing well with the tag titles before WrestleMania, but they did need to split those belts and be able to have a division on Raw and have a division on SmackDown.
I mean, and that's the thing.
And I'm excited for Finn and JD to have a moment because of their relationship outside of not outside of wrestling, outside of, I guess, behind the curtain, because we know JD was trained by Balor, and it is cool to see that type of thing.
I think that's the cool part. I feel bad because we obviously know JD and Balor's connection is a big deal, if you know their history, but it does feel like we got, again, other Judgment Day, right? It was like, oh, we still want Judgment Day to have the titles, so let's do this thing for a month. Let's get the titles back in Judgment Day, but let's reform who we thought the tag team inside of Judgment Day that could carry them is. And to me, it just disrespects the titles. As much as Judgment Day has been a great staple from a storytelling standpoint on Monday Night Raw, that one's lazy. That's the one blind spot in this whole Judgment Day run where they really overcame some initial hurdles already. I thought, I've been honest about that, right? I was critical of the early parts of the story in a way, and then they got me. This is the one blind spot. This is the one spot where they've messed it up in my eyes. Shad, do you agree with that? And do you think they can fix it? Not only that, future of the tag division on Raw.
I think it could be a reset. I'll be honest with you. I've been vocal about it. I'm not an Awesome Truth guy whatsoever. I think they are one of the most corniest duos in professional wrestling when it talks about being a tag team.
They are just friends.
That's kind of the point.
I don't
just
care if
friends.
they're friends. I don't care if they're friends. I think Miz found his footing last night at potentially being a very good, broadcaster, working on the desk. But them as a tag team, like the Miz as a babyface, I don't like it. It's whack. And I like R-Truth. His R-Truth is genuinely funny, and I do like R-Truth. But you can have R-Truth without having him have the titles. You can have him do these segments where he thought Liv Morgan was Carmella and get in this whole bit where he's thinking somebody else is someone else. You can still do that, but he doesn't need to be a champion. I don't necessarily disagree with you, though, just because it is kind of going back to, let's just go back to what we're familiar with, and that is the Judgment Day. And that's Finn more so than anything, because Finn is that good of a superstar, and he's that high on the card where you're like, all right, if you give him the belt, this is a main stage guy. He can kind of make it feel like it means something again. And if they are going to let them be tag team champs, let them be tag team champs. Let's not give them the title and just intertwine everything back within the storyline. Kind of like how we are with Priest, where he's doing feuds on his own. Let's do that with them, right? Let's have them feud with other tag teams on the roster. And let's really make this a reset. Let's establish this division using Finn Balor and using JD McDonagh, because both guys are phenomenal professional wrestlers. And I'm curious to see, how they grow as a tag team. But that's the way to do it, right? I don't think there was seriousness with Awesome Truth. I was
Yeah.
getting mad that they were winning title defenses and they
True.
were the champions. I felt like you're a bum if you lose to them. Like
Yeah.
that's not good.
No, and that's not good, especially when
One-
carrying the
one-
titles. But I'm with you on the Judgment Day thing.
One last thing though. One last
Go
thing.
ahead.
Liv Morgan got Judgment Day, free video games, free chicken nuggets,
Yes.
and helped them get a championship. Dominic Mysterio, she helping out your boys. All of that. If that isn't love, my guy, I don't know what it is, man. I don't know what it is, man. That woman loves you, bro.
I'm with you. And it's to your point, I will say this. I like the idea of Priest being on a solo mission, and then
Mhm.
now you have McDonagh and Finn on a dual mission.
Yeah.
But just the amount of teasing the infighting is what makes me nervous about this particular
Yeah.
booking decision.
No, and that's why I'm not confident about it. And the women's tag team
Yeah.
division will probably be the same thing, because before we go, this is why I don't like booking for the moment, just to make a moment, because you don't have anything to back up the moment. For Isla and Alba Fire, it's gonna be the same thing. They're not. They got the moment, but there's no direction after that. They probably gonna lose the damage control.
There's just not a floor to stand on as far as that division is concerned. Rivalry wise, there's no what's next. Go right ahead, really quick, go Coby, and then
Really
go home.
quickly. Right. I do want to say one thing about the not JD and Balor. What I don't want to happen, what I fear is happening, is Braun Strowman winning the tag team championships off of these guys.
Oh, goodness
Don't
gracious.
give me that again.
Unless Nicholas
Let me
is
be
ready.
a tag partner,
Nicholas
Braun.
is ready. If Nicholas is ready to rock, I'm in. But he better be in gear this time, and I want to see a legit, like a pile driver or something out of Nicholas.
If you in the comments, throw your twos up if you want to be
I wanna see
Braun's
a throwback.
tag team partner.
Absolutely. Yeah. Throw the twos up in the comments. No, but that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you so much, everyone that tuned in. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do. It means the world to us. Check us out. Same time, same place tomorrow. But more importantly than that, if you have no Tuesday night plans outside of maybe even Taco Tuesday, you do now. Because right after NXT, we've got Off the Air immediately following it. That's going to be at 7:15 over here on the west coast of the US. That's going to be at 10:15 on the east coast. That's 9:15 Central Time. That's 4:15 in Hawaii. And then that's deep in the middle of the night for the UK. But we thank everybody that tuned in. We will talk to you later. Have an awesome Tuesday afternoon, my friend.